The night sky of planet Illyra was always full of light. But for her, the blind alien girl, there was only darkness. Her name was Lunara, and she lived at the edge of the human mining zone where the trash from the big cities fell like rain. Every morning she woke before the sun. Her long silver skin shimmered faintly in the blue dawn as she searched through piles of metal scraps and broken machines. To others it was waste. To her it was life. She couldn't see what she touched, but her fingers were her eyes. She could feel the story of every object. Cold, heavy, forgotten. Her people had once built such things long ago, before the humans came. But now the humans ruled the sky, and her kind hid in the dust. Lunara collected anything that still hummed with power. Tiny batteries, half-dead circuits, even glowing shards that buzzed softly when she held them close. She didn't know why she kept them. Maybe it was because they whispered. Sometimes she thought they were talking to her. One day, as she reached into a heap of sharp glass, her hand brushed something smooth, something warm. It pulsed just once like a heartbeat. She froze. Her other hand trembled as she picked it up. It was round metal but alive. She pressed it to her ear. A faint voice echoed when words she couldn't understand. Human words. Her people feared humans. They said humans destroyed what they couldn't control. But Lunara had never met one. Only heard the machines above, the heavy engines, the voices carried by the wind. That night she hid the strange orb inside her small cave. As the wind howled outside, the orb glowed brighter. She could feel it vibrating like it wanted to speak. She whispered, "Who are you?" No answer. Just a soft hum like breathing. The next morning she went out again. The ground was wet with chemical rain. She wrapped her thin arms around herself as she walked to the dump site. Everything smelled of smoke and metal. In the distance, the human towers glowed red and gold, tall as mountains. She wondered what it would be like to live where the air was clean. But then she heard something, a different kind of sound. Not the rumble of engines, not the buzz of power. It was footsteps, slow, heavy, coming closer. Lunara ducked behind a broken engine shell. Her heart raced. Nobody came here except scavengers, and most of them were not kind. The steps stopped near the trash mound. She could feel the vibration through the ground. Whoever it was, they were tall, strong. She held her breath, then a voice spoke. "Is someone here?" It was a man's voice. Human. Calm, but curious. Lunara stayed silent. The human moved closer. Metal crunched under his boots. "I saw light here last night," he said quietly, almost to himself. "Strange energy reading. Maybe another malfunctioning drone." He stopped right in front of her hiding place. Lunara could feel his presence. Warm. Alive. Different from everything else around her. Her hands clutched the small orb inside her cloth bag. The orb was trembling again. The human sighed. "Guess it's nothing," he said. But just as he turned to leave, the orb in Lunara's bag released a faint beep, sharp and clear. The man spun around. "Who's there?" Lunara panicked. She tried to crawl away, but her foot hit a metal pipe and it rolled loudly. The man drew something, a scanner or maybe a weapon. "Stop, don't move!" Lunara froze. The orb glowed through her bag, shining like a small star. The man's voice softened. "Wait, are you—" He stopped mid-sentence as the light touched her face. For the first time, he saw her. A thin alien girl, blind eyes glowing faintly white. Her skin silver in the rain, she looked terrified. Fragile and lost, he lowered his weapon. "Hey, it's okay," he said gently. "I'm not going to hurt you." Lunara could hear kindness in his tone, but she didn't trust it. Her people had been hunted before. She backed away slowly. The human took a careful step forward. "You're hurt," he said. "Let me help." But Lunara shook her head. "Humans destroy. Humans take," he sighed. "Not all of us." Lightning flashed across the dark sky. The orb in her hand flickered, and for a second, the air between them shimmered, as if something unseen connected them. Then, in that blinding flash, the human saw the impossible. The orb projected a faint image, a map. A place deep underground, pulsing with energy. He stared at her. "You have no idea what that is, do you?" Lunara tilted her head. "It speaks to me," she whispered. The man smiled faintly. "Maybe it wants both of us to listen." Thunder rolled. Around them, the trash field came alive with small, glowing fragments, as if waking from sleep. Neither of them noticed that far above, A satellite camera turned and focused on their location. Someone was watching. The storm passed, but the air still smelled of lightning. The human stood still, watching the alien girl disappear into the darkness of the trash field. He didn't chase her. He only whispered to himself, "She's real. A living Illyran." His name was Ethan Cole, a maintenance officer from the outer human colony base. He had come to this wasteland alone, chasing a strange energy, signal that appeared every few nights, the same one that now glowed from the orb in the girl's hands. He had never believed the old stories about Illyrans, blind aliens who could feel sound and light through their skin. Humans said they were extinct, wiped out when the mining wars began. But tonight proved everyone wrong. Ethan picked up his scanner and replayed the data. The reading was powerful, far beyond any normal energy cell. "Whatever that orb is," he murmured, "it's not just tech. It's alive." Lunara ran through the ruins until her legs gave out. She collapsed beside a wall of twisted metal and held the orb close to her chest. It was still humming as if it had a heartbeat. "Why did you do that?" she whispered. "Why did you call the human?" The orb pulsed once as if answering. Lunara frowned. "No, I can't trust them. They killed my people." But deep inside she remembered his voice, calm, gentle, almost kind. It was not the voice of a killer. She pressed her hand against the orb again, and this time she heard faint sounds, fragments of words, static. Then a whisper. "Illyra. Heart and beneath," she gasped. Heart of Illyra? Her people's legend spoke of it, an ancient source of power hidden deep underground, the thing that once kept their world alive before humans came. Could it be real? The orb vibrated faster, like it wanted her to follow. At dawn, Ethan returned to the site with his hover drone. He scanned the area again but found nothing, just the broken metal and scattered wires. The girl was gone. He sighed, staring at the horizon. "You saved my life last night," he muttered, remembering the flash from the orb. The energy surge had blocked a storm strike that could have killed him. "If I find you again, I'll help you." He didn't know why he said it, maybe guilt, maybe curiosity. But something about her had felt pure. She didn't see the world the way he did. She felt it. He looked down at the mud. Tiny footprints, not human. He smiled. "Got you." Meanwhile, Lunara followed the orb's pulse deep into the old tunnels beneath the trash plains. The air grew cold. The walls were covered in glowing fungi and ancient markings. She ran her fingers over the symbols. They felt familiar, like words from her ancestors. Then she felt something else. Movement behind her. She turned quickly, her long ears twitching. "Who's there?" A faint light shone behind a broken pipe. Then a voice. "You move quietly." But not quietly enough. It was Ethan. Lunara stepped back, clutching the orb. "You followed me." "I had to," he said softly. "That device you have, and it's not human. It's old Illyran tech. It could be dangerous." "It's not dangerous," she said. "It called me." Ethan looked surprised. "Called you?" She nodded. "It shows me places. It speaks through light and touch," he frowned. "But you're blind." "How can you?" Lunara smiled faintly. "You see with your eyes. I see with everything else." Ethan lowered his scanner. "Maybe you can help me understand it." She hesitated. "Why would I help a human?" He took off his glove and placed his hand on the cold wall. "Because I don't want your world to die the way mine almost did. And I think that thing you hold can save us both." The orb flickered between them, glowing brighter. For a moment it projected another map, deeper tunnels, pulsating lines, and symbols neither could read. Ethan pointed. "That's under Sector 9. The humans abandoned that area years ago." Lunara touched the lines. "It wants us to go there." He nodded slowly. "Then we go together." She frowned. "Together?" "Yes, you can feel the path. I can protect you from what's above." For a long time, Lunara said nothing. Then she whispered, "If you lie, I will know." Ethan smiled. "Then I'll make sure I never lie." As they moved deeper underground, the walls began to vibrate. The orb's hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat echoing through the tunnels. Lunara stopped suddenly. "Something is waking up," she said. Ethan checked his scanner. The screen flashed red. "Energy spike, huge one. It's not from the orb. It's coming from below us." The ground trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The light of the orb turned crimson for a split second. Ethan grabbed her hand. Run! They sprinted through the narrow passage as the floor behind them cracked open. Blue light shot upward like lightning. The air filled with the sound of machines, ancient, powerful, alive. When they finally stopped, gasping, Ethan looked back. The tunnel they came from had collapsed. What was that? He said. Lunara held the orb tightly. The heart of a Lyra, she whispered. It's not sleeping anymore. Far above, in the human command base, alarms began to sound. A commander shouted, "Unregistered energy surge detected in the lower zones. Track it now." On his screen, 2 life signs blinked. 1 human, 1 alien. The tunnels stretched endlessly, their walls alive with strange blue veins that pulsed like blood. Lunara walked ahead, guided by the soft vibration of the orb in her hands. Ethan followed behind, his flashlight cutting through the darkness. The deeper they went, the warmer the air became, as if something beneath was breathing. Lunara whispered, "It feels alive." Ethan nodded. "That's what I'm afraid of." The ground beneath them trembled again. Dust fell from above and a deep rumble echoed from far below. Ethan glanced at his scanner. The readings were spiking, unstable, impossible. "Energy output like this shouldn't even exist," he muttered. "Not after the war." Lunara tilted her head. "Your machines don't understand what they broke." Ethan looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She traced her fingers along the wall, feeling the faint symbols carved there. "My people built this place. The heart of a Lyra was never a machine. It was a living mind," he frowned. "A mind?" She nodded slowly. "It gave us warmth, light, and balance. It spoke to the world. But when humans came, they tried to take its power." It screamed. Then it went silent. Ethan's chest tightened. He had read about the first mining conflict, how the Illyrans disappeared after resisting human extraction. He had never imagined the truth could be like this. "Maybe it's trying to wake up," he said quietly. Lunara stopped walking. "Or maybe it's angry." They reached a large chamber. The air shimmered faintly, and the walls seemed to move like liquid light trapped inside stone. In the center stood a massive structure, half organic, half metallic, shaped like a beating heart. The orb in Lunara's hands glowed brighter, its hum now in rhythm with the pulsing of the heart. Ethan stepped closer, but his scanner started to malfunction. "The field is too strong," he said. "It's rewriting my system code in real time." Lunara ignored him. She took a deep breath and placed the orb onto a small hollow in the heart's surface. The moment it touched, a blinding light filled the chamber. Ethan shielded his eyes. "Lunara, stop!" But she stood calmly, the light reflecting off her silver skin. For the first time, she felt something inside her. A memory not her own. Images flooded her mind. Her ancestors. The shining cities of Illyra before the humans came. The heart glowing like a sun beneath the planet's crust. She heard voices speaking in her native tongue, gentle and full of sorrow. Then the light faded and Lunara fell to her knees. Ethan ran to her. "Hey, stay with me!" She gasped for air, trembling. It remembers us." "What?" "The heart," she said weakly. "It remembers everything." Ethan helped her sit up. "What did it show you?" She pointed at the wall, where glowing symbols now danced and shifted, forming a pattern. "It showed me where it's dying. There's a wound. Deep below." Ethan studied the moving lights. "If this thing dies," she nodded, "then this world dies too." Far above, in the human command base, a woman in uniform stared at the same readings Ethan had seen. Commander Voss leaned forward. "Find out who's down there," she ordered. "That surge could power an entire colony." "I want it contained," her aide hesitated. "Ma'am, sensors show 2 life forms, 1 human, 1 Illyran." Voss smiled coldly. "Then we capture them both." Back underground, Lunara stood again. Her blind eyes glowed faintly white. "It wants me to fix it," she said. Ethan frowned. "Fix it? How?" She touched the heart's surface. It said something about the bridge of voices. "It connects minds, Illyran and human. Maybe it wants to link with you." Ethan stepped back. "Wait, me?" "No, I can't." But the heart pulsed suddenly, sending out a wave of light. The orb flew from its socket and hovered between them, spinning faster and faster. Lunara reached for Ethan's hand. "It's starting." "What's starting?" he shouted. "The connection." Their hands touched, and everything went silent. In that instant, Ethan wasn't in the tunnel anymore. He saw a vision, oceans of crystal, cities made of sound, creatures walking through light. He felt emotions that weren't his. Grief, beauty, loss. Lunara stood beside him in that vision, her eyes open now, glowing like stars. "Do you see it?" She asked. "Yes," he whispered. "Your world. It's beautiful." "It was," she said sadly. "Before humans came," he turned to her. "Then let's fix it together." The vision shattered. They were back in the chamber, both shaking. The heart's glow dimmed, as if exhausted. Ethan's scanner beeped weakly. "We need to move," he said. "That connection might have sent a signal." "They'll come for us." Lunara clutched the orb again. "Then we go deeper." The heart said the bridge is below the core. He nodded. "Then we go where no human has ever gone." As they descended into the final tunnels, the light behind them faded, leaving only silence. Above ground, Commander Voss watched the tracking screen and smiled. "Prepare the drones," she said. "If the heart of Elira has awakened, we'll take it." The tunnels grew tighter, twisting like veins beneath the planet's skin. Every few steps, the walls glowed with weak pulses of light, the last breath of a dying world. Lunara walked in front, her bare feet silent on the stone. Ethan followed, one hand on the wall, the other holding a flickering scanner that could barely stay alive. "It's getting hotter," he said. Sweat rolled down his face. "The heart is close," Lunara replied softly. "It calls to me through the hum." He could hear it too now, a deep vibration that wasn't sound, more like feeling in his bones. It was as if the planet itself had a heartbeat. They reached a great chasm. A river of molten light flowed below, cutting the path in half. The bridge across it wasn't made of metal or stone. It was light, shimmering, shifting, breathing like a living ribbon. Ethan stopped in awe. "Is that the bridge of voices?" Lunara whispered. "My ancestors built it to speak with the heart. Only two can cross at once. One Eliran, one human. It joins their minds so the heart can listen to both." Ethan stared at the glowing bridge. "That means it's been waiting for someone like us." She nodded. "Waiting for understanding." He took a deep breath. "Then let's give it what it's been waiting for." The moment their feet touched the bridge, 1,000 echoes surrounded them. Voices whispering in languages Ethan didn't know. The surface beneath them rippled like water, glowing brighter with each step. "Don't look down," Ethan muttered. Lunara smiled faintly. "I can't." He felt embarrassed. "Right, sorry." The voices grew louder. Some sounded kind, others angry, as if countless memories were alive inside the light. Ethan covered his ears, but the sound wasn't outside, and it was inside his head. "Ethan," Lunara said, her tone calm, "you must listen. They are showing us what was lost." Images burst into his mind. Eliran cities made of crystal and song, humans landing in metal ships, the first handshake, then the first betrayal. He saw the heart burning as humans drilled into it, its pain echoing through the planet. He fell to his knees, shaking. "We did this. My people did this." Lunara knelt beside him. "It was not you, but you can help fix what they broke." He looked at her, her blind eyes shining like moonlight, and for the first time, he believed it. When they reached the middle of the bridge, the light turned white. Everything around them disappeared. Suddenly they stood in a place that wasn't real, a vast void filled with floating memories. A voice spoke. It was deep, warm, and endless. "Child of light, child of metal, you have come." Lunara bowed her head. "Great heart of Elira, we seek to heal you." Ethan stepped forward. "If humans hurt you, I'm sorry. We didn't know what you were." The voice vibrated through them. "Ignorance is not innocence, but forgiveness can be born from understanding." The light shifted, forming a massive shape, something like a heart made of galaxies. "The wound is near. My lifeblood leaks into the void. You must close it. One must give what the other cannot." Lunara frowned. "What do you mean?" "Balance requires both. One who feels, one who sees." Ethan looked confused. "I don't understand," but the light began to fade. The bridge trembled. "Decide quickly," the voice thundered. "The others come. They seek to take, not heal." Back above the surface, Commander Voss's ship entered orbit over the wasteland. Drones swarmed out, red lights scanning the ground. "Signal locked," said her officer. "2 targets near the planet's core. Prepare extraction," Voss ordered. "I want that energy source alive." In the tunnels, alarms echoed. Ethan's communicator beeped. "They found us," he said. "We have maybe 10 minutes before drones get here." Lunara gripped the orb. "Then we finish this first." They ran across the rest of the bridge. At the end, They reached a vast pit filled with swirling light. The heart's core, cracked and bleeding energy like blue fire. Ethan stared, speechless. How do we fix something this huge? Lunara placed the orb into the air above the crack. It floated, spinning, releasing small threads of light that tried to seal the wound, but they weren't enough. The gap widened again. It needs more power, Ethan said. No, Lunara whispered. It needs a soul, he blinked. A soul? She touched his hand gently. It needs us. One mind that sees, one that feels. That's what the heart meant. Realization hit him. You mean we merge? She nodded slowly, just for a moment. To give it balance, he hesitated, fear flickering in his eyes. If we fail, we won't, she said firmly. Trust me, human. He took her hand. Name's Ethan, and I am Lunara. The orb flared between them, bright as a sun. Light surged up the walls, and the heart of Elira began to beat again. Far above, Voss's ship shook violently. Her sensors screamed as power levels spiked beyond measure. What's happening? She shouted. Unknown surge. It's rewriting our systems. Then the screen went white. Deep below, Lunara and Ethan stood within the storm of light. Their minds merged. Human logic with Illyrian emotion, metal and melody woven together. The heart's wound closed, and for the first time in centuries the planet exhaled. The bridge steadied. Silence returned. Ethan opened his eyes. Lunara? She smiled faintly. The heart is safe, he smiled back. Then let's get out before the humans turn this into another mine. But behind them a shadow moved. Not human. Not Illyrian. Something ancient awakening from the depths. The light from the heart faded into calm waves, soft and blue. Lunara stood quietly, her hand still glowing faintly from the link. Ethan beside her, breathing hard, his heart racing like the echoes still pulsing through the air. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. The ground was still. The hum of the heart had turned into a slow, gentle rhythm, the rhythm of life returning to the world. Ethan smiled. We did it, he whispered. We actually fixed it, but Lunara didn't smile. Her ears twitched. She could feel something, a vibration low and deep from beneath the heart. No, she said softly. It isn't over. The floor shuddered. A crack spread across the glowing surface and a gust of hot wind burst upward. The air tasted metallic, heavy, wrong. Ethan raised his scanner, but it flickered and died instantly. That's not the heart, he muttered. Something else is moving. The light under their feet changed from blue to red. It was as if blood had started flowing beneath the planet's veins. Then came the sound. A roar that wasn't just loud, but felt in their bones. The heart of Elira shook and massive pieces of crystal fell from above. Lunara grabbed Ethan's arm. Run! They sprinted back toward the bridge, but before they reached it, a giant shape rose from the glowing pit. A creature of light and shadow, half solid, half smoke. It had no face, only a mouth that burned with red fire. Ethan froze. What in... Lunara's voice trembled. The Guardian. The heart's protector. It was meant to defend Elira, but the war twisted it. The creature roared again, sending a shockwave that shattered the bridge of light behind them. Ethan and Lunara fell to the ground as energy sparks filled the air. Ethan coughed, shielding his face. We can't fight that thing. Lunara stood slowly, clutching the orb. We don't fight. We remind it of what? Of who it was. Above them, Commander Voss's dropships entered the chasm. Metal claws extended, digging into the walls. Soldiers rappelled down, their suits glowing white. Eyes on the target. Voss barked through her comms. If it moves, shoot it. The soldiers froze when they saw the massive glowing creature below. Ma'am, it's alive. Voss smirked. Even better. Capture it if you can. If not, burn it. Down below, Lunara faced the Guardian. She raised the orb, and it pulsed weakly in her hands. Guardian of the heart, she whispered, her voice echoing in the chamber. We are not your enemy. The creature tilted its head, confused. For a second, the red glow dimmed, showing veins of silver light deep within. Ethan whispered, It's listening. But then the sound of human engines filled the cave. The soldiers' lights cut through the darkness. Blaster rifles clicked. Voss's voice thundered through the speakers. Step away from the energy source. This area is under human control. The Guardian roared at the intrusion. Its body expanded, wings of molten light bursting open. The shockwave knocked several soldiers off the walls. Ethan yelled, "Stop firing! You'll make it worse." But Voss didn't listen. "All units open fire." Beams of energy streaked through the air, striking the Guardian. It screamed, not in pain but in anger. The entire cavern shook as its tail lashed out, smashing ships like paper toys. Lunara fell to her knees, holding the orb close. "They're hurting it again," she whispered. Just like before, Ethan grabbed her shoulders. "Then we stop them." "But how?" She pressed the orb into his hands. "You link again. You show it truth, not fear?" He hesitated. "Lunara, I can't do that without you." Her glowing eyes met his. "Then take me with you." Ethan held the orb between them. Light surrounded them both, brighter and brighter, until the entire chamber became white. Their minds joined again, and this time they reached deeper. They found the Guardian's memory. It was not a monster once. It had been a gentle being, born from the heart to protect Elira's children. It remembered laughter, music, harmony. Then came the fire, the drills, the war. Humans took the heart's light and left it broken. Lunara whispered inside the vision, "Remember who you are." Ethan added softly, "We can make it right." The Guardian's form began to change. The red glow softened. Its wings folded. The roaring stopped. But before peace could return, Voss fired her ship's main cannon. The blast struck the Guardian straight in the chest. The creature screamed, collapsing into the pit. The light inside the orb shattered into fragments. Ethan shouted, "No!" Lunara reached out, her voice full of pain. "Don't let it die again." The orb's fragments floated upward, swirling around the Guardian like stars. They sank into its body, and for a heartbeat the creature looked peaceful again. It turned toward Lunara and Ethan, its voice echoing softly. "You have given me truth. I will give you time." Then, with one final roar, it exploded in a wave of blue light that threw every human ship out of the chasm. The cavern began to collapse. Ethan grabbed Lunara's hand. "Move, now!" They ran through falling debris, the ground cracking beneath their feet. The bridge of light reappeared for a single second, just long enough for them to cross before the heart sealed itself behind them. Above the surface, Voss's ship crashed in flames. Her crew scrambled to survive. On her broken console, two signals blinked faintly, human and Eliran, moving away from the blast zone together. Voss clenched her fist. "You can run, but you can't hide. Whatever you woke up down there, it belongs to us." Deep underground in the silent ruins, Lunara and Ethan rested beside a glowing lake of blue water. The planet's heartbeat was calm again. Ethan looked up at the faint light filtering from above. "You think the Guardian survived?" Lunara smiled weakly. "Maybe not in body, but in memory, yes." She touched the orb's broken shell. It hummed softly like a heartbeat returning. Ethan whispered, "Then maybe Elira still remembers hope." The morning sky above Elira burned red. Smoke rose from the crash sites of the human dropships scattered across the desert. The planet had awakened, and it was angry. Lunara stood on a cliff, wind whipping through her silver hair. Below her, the wasteland shimmered with new rivers of glowing light. The veins of the heart spreading life again through the ground. She could feel the rhythm in her skin. The planet was alive but fragile. Ethan limped up beside her, holding his shoulder. His clothes were burned, his eyes tired, but he smiled. "You look like you're listening to music," she nodded. "It sings again." Ethan followed her gaze toward the horizon. Dozens of human warships floated there, engines glowing red. "Yeah," he said grimly. "But they're about to silence it." Commander Voss's flagship hovered high in the dusty sky. Inside the command deck, the crew scrambled to regroup. Voss's face was pale but determined. "Deploy the extraction rigs," she ordered. "We lost the drones, but the Heart's power signature is still there. We're taking it, whatever it costs." Her lieutenant hesitated. "Ma'am, the last team reported something alive down there." Voss glared at him. "Then tell them to shoot it until it's not." She turned toward the window, staring down at the glowing cracks spreading across the land. "If Elira burns, it burns. Humanity needs that energy." Down below, Ethan slammed his fist into the sand. "She's going to destroy everything." Lunara crouched beside him. "Then we must stop her." He laughed bitterly. "Stop an entire fleet? With what, courage and broken metal?" Lunara reached into her pack and pulled out the cracked orb. It flickered weakly, still alive. "Not with metal. With memory," Ethan frowned. "You mean the Heart can fight back?" She nodded slowly. The guardian is gone, but its spirit remains in the heart. If we link again, maybe we can wake what it left behind. Ethan looked up at the sky where the warships glowed like angry stars. Let's give them something to be afraid of. They made their way to an ancient ruin half buried in the sand, a temple shaped like a spiral, with walls that hummed softly. Lunara ran her hands along the carvings. This was where my people called the Sci-Fi, a defense older than any weapon. Ethan set up his scanner on the floor, patching power from his suit into the orb. If we do this wrong, we could blow the whole planet apart. Then we must do it right, Lunara said, placing her hand over his. Together, he smiled faintly. You really like saying that word. It is the only word that saved us so far, she replied. They both closed their eyes. The orb pulsed between them, weak at first, then stronger, then alive. Far above, on Voss's ship, alarms started blaring. Ma'am, new energy surged from the surface. Voss frowned. Where? Right under our fleet. On the screen, the desert below began to glow. The cracks widened, connecting into a giant spiral, the same shape as the old temple. Light shot upward, surrounding the ships like a storm. Voss shouted, "Shields up! Shields!" Her words drowned in the sound of thunder. A massive wave of blue energy burst from the ground, flipping smaller ships like toys. The main vessel shook violently. Ethan and Lunara stood in the center of the temple as the light grew around them. The orb floated above their hands, spinning so fast it looked like a star. Ethan shouted over the roar, "What's happening?" Lunara's voice was calm. Sci-Fi remembers its purpose. The sky cracked open. Bolts of pure light shot upward, piercing the fleet. One by one, human ships exploded in silent flashes, dissolving into dust. But Voss's flagship held firm. Its shields glowed red, fighting against the storm. Voss gritted her teeth. They think they can stop me with ancient magic? She slammed her hand on the console. Launch the reactor bomb. Her officers hesitated. That'll destroy everything, even us. I don't care, Voss screamed. If I can't have the heart, no one will. Back in the temple, the air turned white hot. Ethan's scanner beeped wildly. They've launched something big and it's falling straight toward us. Lunara's voice trembled. Then the heart must answer before it lands. She reached for his hand. Ethan, listen. The Skyfire's power needs both of us. You give it your strength. I'll give it my soul. He gripped her hand tightly. You're not doing this alone. The orb exploded into light, connecting their minds once again. The heart of Elira roared through them both. Every sound, every memory, every life that had ever touched the planet. Lunara's eyes blazed white. Elira, awaken! A beam of energy shot from the temple straight into the sky, brighter than any sun. It hit the falling bomb mid-air, and the world turned silent. Then came the shockwave. The blast spread for miles. The human fleet was gone, not destroyed but dissolved into light, turned into harmless dust. The sky cleared, and for the first time in centuries, true sunlight shone over Elira. Ethan and Lunara collapsed to the ground. The orb fell between them, dim but alive. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. Did we win? Lunara smiled weakly. No one wins in war. But maybe. This time no one lost. He looked at her, realizing she was fading, her body turning faintly translucent. Lunara, what's happening? She touched his face gently. I gave the heart what it needed. My voice, my life. Now it breathes again. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. No, stay with me, she smiled. I'll always be with you. Elira will remember us, both human and Eliran. Her hand glowed, then turned into light, merging with the wind. Ethan fell to his knees as the orb pulsed one last time, whispering her name. Far away in the ruins of her ship, Commander Voss awoke amid the dust. The world around her was silent, glowing faintly blue. She looked up at the sky and saw two lights twinkling side by side, one silver, one gold. She whispered, What have they done? Silence fell across the planet. The storms were gone. The sky, once heavy with smoke and fire, was now calm, painted in soft gold and blue. The air was clean again. The heart of Elira pulsed deep underground, slow and steady, like a heartbeat after a long sleep. Ethan sat beside the glowing lake, staring at the horizon. He hadn't moved for hours. The orb cracked faintly humming and rested beside him. Every now and then it flickered as if breathing. He whispered, You're still here, aren't you? The wind brushed against his face, warm and gentle. A soft voice, faint like an echo, answered in his mind. Always. Lunara's voice. Ethan smiled weakly. You never listen when I tell you to rest. The air shimmered faintly, forming a faint outline beside him, her silhouette, made of light. And you never stop worrying, she said softly. He closed his eyes, letting the silence settle between them. The heart's stable now. The readings show the planet healing, but without you it feels empty. Her glowing form knelt beside him. I'm not gone. I became part of what you saved. He looked up at the sky where glowing rivers of light stretched across the horizon. You mean the heart? She nodded. Every beat you hear, every breeze you feel, that's me. That's Elira. Far above, in orbit, the last surviving human ship drifted silently. Commander Voss sat alone in the dark, staring at the dying flames of her console. The others were gone and wiped out by the sky fire. A faint transmission crackled through the speakers. Voss, if you can hear me, pull back. Elira isn't ours anymore. She laughed bitterly. It was never ours, she muttered. She turned toward the window. Below her the planet glowed, blue and alive. For the first time she saw it not as an object, but as something breathing. Something aware, she whispered. You win, alien girl. Then she shut down the engines and let her ship drift into the light of Elira's sunrise. Back on the surface, Ethan wandered through the ruins of what was once the mining colony. Nature was reclaiming everything. Vines sprouting through steel, glowing moss covering the ground. He found the broken helmet of a soldier half buried in the soil. He picked it up and placed it beside a pile of smooth stones. No more war, he said quietly. No more taking. From the corner of his eye he saw something. A small Illyrian child hiding behind a piece of old machinery. Her silver skin gleamed in the sunlight and her white eyes blinked curiously. Ethan smiled. Hey there, the child stepped forward cautiously. Are you human? He nodded. Yes, but not like the ones you heard about. She tilted her head. The planet says you helped, he chuckled. I tried. But really it helped me. The child touched the ground. It wants you to stay. Ethan looked up at the vast sky. Maybe I will. That night he returned to the temple where it all began. The walls glowed faintly, alive with patterns of light, the memories of both species dancing together. He placed the orb at the center of the floor. It pulsed once, twice, and then projected a holographic image. Lunara standing tall, smiling. Ethan, the hologram said softly. If you are seeing this, then Elira has healed. Thank you. For believing. He reached toward the light, though he knew he couldn't touch it. You did it, Lunara. Your world's alive again. Her image smiled. Our world. You are part of it now. The hologram flickered and the orb dimmed, merging with the temple floor. The walls brightened, sealing it inside him as if the planet itself was saying goodbye. Ethan stood quietly. For the first time, he didn't feel like a stranger here. Years passed. The stories of Elira spread through space, not as warnings, but as hope. Humans spoke of a blind alien girl who turned trash into treasure, who taught a man to see what could not be seen. Ethan built a small settlement near the glowing lake. Not a colony, but a home. Humans and surviving Elirans lived together there, growing food, building shelters from crystal and stone. Children, human and Illyran alike, played together, their laughter echoing across the valley. And sometimes when the sun set, the ground beneath their feet hummed softly, like a gentle song. The planet is singing again, the children would say. Ethan, now older, would smile and look toward the stars. It's her voice, he'd tell them. She's watching over us. One night, as the moons of Elira rose, Ethan walked to the edge of the lake. The water reflected the twin moons perfectly, one silver, one gold. He sat down, whispering into the still air. I kept my promise. The wind moved around him, carrying Lunara's soft laughter. And so did I. A beam of light shimmered across the surface of the lake, forming a single glowing flower. Ethan picked it up carefully, placing it on the ground beside him. Good night, Lunara, he said. The flower's light grew brighter, then drifted up into the sky, joining the stars. Ethan smiled through tears. You finally see them, he whispered. The stars you never could. He leaned back, closing his eyes as the soft hum of the heart echoed in the distance. Elira was alive. The war was over. And in that peaceful silence, two souls, one human, one Eliran, were finally one with the same heartbeat.